Coming up, after a double homicide in North Fargo, we dig into the background of the man who police say admits to pulling the trigger. We'll tell you how Grand Forks police are using drones to catch criminals. Plus, concerned parents speak out as school lunch options dwindle. Valley News Live at 10 starts right now.
This is Valley News Live at 10.
Valley News Live is investigating the man who says he pulled the trigger after a double homicide in North Fargo today. A woman and a man were killed in a shooting at a manufacturing company, and the apparent suspect has turned himself in. Valley News team's Alex Larson was at the scene.
The shooting happened at Composite America, located at 401 27th Street North.
Medical assistance was immediately called for and has been ongoing. Unfortunately, sadly, we had to report that one person was transported to the hospital, where a male where he was pronounced deceased, and a female, after extensive medical work on scene, also has been pronounced deceased.
Scanner traffic indicated the woman was pregnant and shot in the abdomen. Tonight, police are not confirming that information, but they do say 35-year-old Anthony Reese went to the police department shortly after the double homicide and turned himself in.
I think we're comfortable at this point saying that we have the person we believe responsible in custody, and I think the big thing here is taking care of the victims and their families and getting the scene process. So I'm sure we'll be here for several hours.
After looking into Reese's criminal history, Valley News team found he is a registered sex offender and has been for the last 7 years. His conviction makes it illegal to possess a firearm. Reese's record shows a history of violent crimes, as well as several drug convictions and a 2015 conviction for being in possession of another firearm. According to the North Dakota Sex Offender Registry, Reese's last known employer is listed as the same address as the double homicide that happened today. Sources have been telling us Reese was fired from his job early this morning, then came back and opened fire. Fargo police also not confirming that information, but more is expected to be released once investigators determine exactly what happened. In Fargo, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
Police are still looking for help identifying the victims. If you have any information, you're asked to contact Fargo PD. In other news tonight, Minnesota now has the nation's worst 7-day rate of new COVID infections. Today, the state health department reported nearly 3,500 new positive cases and 46 new deaths. According to the CDC, that means Minnesota's 7-day case rate is more than 556 per 100,000 people, the worst in the nation. Still, Governor Walz says he won't be shutting anything down.
Would I use the peacetime emergency to declare a mask mandate? Would we do a shutdown of certain businesses again or whatever? The data doesn't seem to support that tool would mitigate where we're at right now. What I need from people is I need them to be vaccinated, and I need some relief around some of the regulations and the ability to take the pressure off of the hospitals.
The federal government is now sending dozens of medical personnel to the state to help Minnesota hospitals overwhelmed with patients. The wind made today tricky for many of us on this first alert weather day. Hutch joins us with a first look at what's next. Hutch?
Stacy, thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. Heading into the 10 o'clock hour, we still have the same problems we had when we rise this morning, and that is wind and snowflakes. So we had a few here in the FM area over the last little while as we look in on the Luther Family Forward View. Here's a look elsewhere. Goodridge still seeing horizontal flakes of snow, even though they're not showing up on radar. A lot of wind and snow building up on the road surfaces there. Now, it's not a lot of snow, but it's enough to reinforce the slippery. Thief River Falls, see the horizontal flakes in your neck of the woods as well. That's on Highway 59, just north of town. Here's a look. Again, we're not seeing snow on the radar here, but it's there. Radars overshoot the top of it. We're seeing an enhanced area of snow here. When we get the dark blues, those are bigger flakes. Notice those are exactly downwind from the big lake. So Devil's Lake water moves over that warmer water. The air that's cold moves over that, gains a little lift. It enhances the snow downwind. That's a possibility here as to what we're seeing, and that can continue as long as the wind continues over the lake, which is going to be all night. Stacy, we're still gusting over 40 miles per hour in parts of North Dakota. Your hour-by-hour forecast will have details on when the wind takes a little bit of a break. I'm all for it. We'll have details in a moment.
Me too. Thanks, Hutch. New tonight at 10, some people are without their home tonight in Grand Forks after a fire at an apartment building. More than 20 firefighters showed up to fight the fire just after 4:30 this afternoon at 2450 30th Avenue South. Crews say when they arrived, they saw fire showing through the building siding near the floor. They worked to extinguish the fire on the exterior of the building and in the crawl space. They say only the tenants directly above the fire were displaced. They're being helped by the Red Cross. New information tonight about a fatal car crash in Jamestown we were the first to tell you about last night. Tonight, Highway Patrol is identifying the man as 63-year-old Richard LaFavre. They say he was crossing Highway 52 just north of town when an SUV crashed into his driver's side door. We're learning the woman driving that SUV will not be charged in the accident. There were 2 small children in her car at the time. We're told they're both okay. In Fargo, a man is dead after crashing his car into a traffic light. Highway Patrol says the 41-year-old was coming off I-29 onto 19th Avenue North last night when he slammed into the traffic signal. A 14-year-old boy in the car was hurt, but he is expected to be okay. And in a third fatal crash in the last 24 hours, 1 person died in an early morning car crash near Climax, Minnesota. State troopers are still investigating. At this point, they're only saying an SUV headed south on Highway 75 went off the road and hit a ditch at about 2:30 this morning. In a special report tonight, schools across the country are having to cut back on school lunch options thanks to national supply chain issues, and Fargo-Moorhead area schools are no exception. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling spoke with a concerned parent who says her child's allergies already limit what's safe for them to eat.
Amy Lenny is a parent in South Fargo with 2 kids in school. Both are seeing many of their school lunch options disappear as schools struggle to get a hold of the food they normally keep in stock.
I have wondered how it is going to affect him because he has such a limited diet already. If things are changed, that's what I don't know if he's going to have food that he can eat.
West Fargo schools sent out a message to parents that said in 2 weeks, elementary menus will have just 1 option for lunch, adding that middle school and high school menus will have 1 hot option and limited grab and goes. Moorhead Public Schools says they've notified everyone about potential menu changes, but Fargo Public Schools say they've already had to change things up.
I think having that open communication with the school district is really important. It gives parents time to plan ahead.
The smaller menus could also put strains on families. They may now have to pack a lunch from home.
The extra time to be getting those extra groceries, the extra money. There's some of these families that's one of the few meals these kids might see.
In Fargo, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
And for more information on what the school districts in the Fargo-Moorhead area are doing with food services, visit valleynewslive.com and click on this story. Also, new for you tonight at 10, a Larimore man is in jail tonight after allegedly threatening to give an officer COVID, then spitting on him. According to court documents on Sunday, Grand Forks police responded to a call at the Roadway Inn where 36-year-old David Gomez was driving erratically. Documents say when officers tried to pull him over, he drove off, crashed into a snowbank, then tried to run. Police say when they finally caught him, Gomez leaned forward into an officer's face and told him, "I have COVID," before spitting on him. Gomez is charged with felony contact by bodily fluids, as well as fleeing, disobedience, DUI, and refusal to submit to chemical test. The Moorhead officer who fired his gun at a man has been cleared of any wrongdoing. Moorhead police responded to 25th Street and 4th Avenue North back on July 4th for suspicious activity, which was followed by a foot chase and Officer Andrew Work firing his gun. The Crow Wing County Attorney's Office reviewed the case and has now determined the discharge of the firearm was reasonable and justified. While North Dakota state prisons do have a smaller number of job vacancies than most, the Department of Corrections and the Cass County Jail say that doesn't mean the state isn't wrestling with other issues. In the last 5 years, the Department of Corrections has seen 30% less applicants, as well as high turnover rates and extreme burnout. It's something the Cass County Jail says they're seeing too, which is partly why they're currently down 20 officers.
And a lot of our turnover happens within the first 6 months of employment, because it's just not the right kind of work for some people. It's not, not made for everybody.
Both the Department of Corrections and the Cass County Jail say they're working to increase salaries to be competitive with the current job market, and they're actively recruiting throughout the state in an effort not to fall any further behind. State officials are mourning the loss of retired North Dakota Air National Guard's Brigadier General Al Palmer. He died yesterday at the age of 69. Palmer started his military career in 1972, serving in the Vietnam War before joining North Dakota's Air National Guard in 1981. Palmer was instrumental in establishing the Grand Forks Veteran Memorial Park. Still ahead tonight, how Grand Forks law enforcement used drones as an extra set of eyes in the sky.
Today, that air, well, those molecules were in an awful hurry. We had gusts upwards of 60 miles per hour in the James River Valley and near 40 miles per hour across greater Minnesota. It's still windy. We still have flakes. Your hour-by-hour forecast tells you how long this continues and what to expect for the big holiday travel week next.